You can talk about anything you want.
Yeah, but I think it's real important to touch base on the residential sprinkler system. Tell our folks out there what you've discovered. I heard about this because recently I worked on a project, a commercial project, using obviously sprinkler systems for a restaurant. And one of the gentlemen that were working there was saying, you know, this has become will become a residential mandate.
It will. The key issue is this. First of all, people are aware of what sprinklers are. They are, usually a valve located in the ceiling of the structure, and in the event of a fire, it has a valve that turns on the water and puts out the fire.
Sure.
It saves lives, property, reduces the damage to the building,
Sure.
and it's a recognized means of fire safety in buildings throughout America and the world.
Sure.
Well, for the last 2 decades, fire safety experts have been presenting the fact that this should be brought into residential construction, into all of our homes. And finally, in the last year, they've been going back and forth, pros and cons. In the 2009 code, they are calling for sprinklers to be part of new residential construction for certain types of buildings. It might be 1 or 2 family-story homes, certainly townhouses, that type of thing.
Sure.
But this won't be phased in until 2011. So many jurisdictions will continue to use previous versions of the code, and those that do not adopt the newer version are free to drop the sprinkler provisions. But at some point, like you said, we are heading towards the day that all homes will have sprinklers. And I don't want to get into all the details here, but I do want to just say that since these new townhouses and 1- and 2-story family residential structures will have sprinklers, people will say, oh my gosh, I don't want to maintain these things, and it's going to cost a lot of money. Well, if you think about one thing, there's no maintenance to them at all.
Right.
All you have to do is make sure that you don't paint over the valves,
Sure.
the sprinkler valves.
Right.
If you do that, then obviously they're not going to work.
Right.
The other issue is it costs right now about $1.61 per square foot to install these sprinklers. So on a 3,000 square foot home, you're looking at about $3,000, $4,000 to install the sprinkler. So is that a deal breaker on a house? Well, if you're spending $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 on a house, let's say $200,000, $3,000, $4,000 isn't a lot of money to have that increased level of safety. And that's how builders will eventually be selling this, as they'll market and put a spin around it that sprinklers will be a good reason to buy a new, safer home. And I would agree with them. I mean, yeah, it's, from our standpoint, with houses in the last 50 years not having any sprinklers, well, that's a big step up.
Well, folks may be a little confused on how sprinkler systems work.
Okay.
Usually, within the area where the fire, let's say in this room, and there's a sprinkler head in this room, that sprinkler head, if there's a fire in this room, will only go off in this room. Sprinkler system go off in the whole house. Only where the temperature gets to a certain degree where that sprinkler head go off.
Right. It's a localized response to the fire, as if you had a fireman in that room at the time at which the fire started. There's something else which really is to your point. A lot of people will argue against this and say, well, the sprinkler head will automatically go off by accident.
Right.
And the average is you'll be struck by lightning 16 times before one of your sprinkler heads will go off. So it's like about 1 in 16 million that this thing's going to go off.
I wonder if at some point it's going to be a mandate for even existing structures.
Well, that's another issue, and I would think that it would be at some point, and maybe not in our lifetime, but I think that would happen at some point as a retrofit. But think about this. The issue is safety. Whether you agree with it or not,
sure.
We have come accustomed to certain levels of safety in our environment. How about seatbelts? Do you remember when cars did not have seatbelts?
Oh, without question, right.
How about when cars didn't have, I'm sorry, the bags? What do you call it? The automatic airbags. Sorry, my mind went blank.
I wasn't going to help you. I like when you struggle, but go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so airbags, seat belts. We have ground fault interrupter circuits on our electrical now.
Right.
We also have egress windows that are required.
Mm-hmm.
People may or may not be aware of that, but in new homes, all these things are required. Well, sprinklers will probably be part of that in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all for the safety, and I think that it's something that people will have to be